everyone, and welcome back to today's podcast. I'm your host, Laura Bloomberg, a fertility coach and holistic therapist, specializing in EFT, hypnotherapy, and NLP mindset coaching. I'm delighted today to welcome a fantastic special guest, Bhavika. Today, we're going to be diving into a healing practice that I know many of you will find fascinating and potentially life-changing on your fertility journey. Welcome, Bhavika.
Hello. Thank you very
Hello.
much for having me.
My pleasure. I'm really excited. It's just a little bit about Bhavika. You're a womb fertility practitioner. Is that
Yes,
right?
correct. Yes.
And you combine womb massage, Reiki, and ancestral healing to help release trauma, clear negative energy.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
And how does that sort of help the body with the fertility process?
Okay, so the womb massage is a deeply nourishing, non-invasive abdominal massage, obviously, that focuses on the physical, emotional, and energetic space of the womb and the surrounding organs. So it
Wow.
helps bring awareness of circulation back to the reproductive organs, your digestive system, but rebalancing and detoxifying all of that sort of area and cleansing that space for fertility, for your fertility
Which
journey.
is so important, isn't it? Because
Exactly
it's
that.
it's not it's physical and spiritual and emotional is all, and helping the woman to reconnect with their womb space is absolutely vital during a fertility journey, because often we forget about that and
Yeah.
it's so medically induced, or people just don't appreciate how important connection with that area is going to help them with their journey. So I've experienced a session with you recently. So I'm going to be able to talk a little bit later on from a personal perspective here. And I really can't wait now to dive in and to share some of your amazing work that you do.
Brilliant. Thank
So
you.
let's just go a little bit more about exactly what is a womb massage, because I think for some people out there, they might be thinking that sounds a bit woo-woo or a bit odd. Um, what is a womb massage? And also, what are some of the benefits that women will experience from it?
Okay, so womb massage, like I said, was a abdominal massage,
Yep.
and predominantly lots of people do it. Lots of cultures are doing abdominal massages for pregnancy, for fertility.
Hmm.
So things like the Chinese do them, African, the Mayan sort of community do them. Indians actually, Ayurvedic medicine also look at
Yeah.
fertility and massages. So, like I said before, it helps with your digestive system, your reproductive system. That's ultimately what you're aiming for. And some of the benefits of these include like relief from menstrual pain, irregular period, support with the fertility changes, so hormonal imbalances. It releases sort of your emotional trauma and grief that you're stored in that body and
Wow.
in that area.
Yeah.
Incredibly grounding and reconnecting women into their creative space. So the womb is actually a way and a place that you can create your wisdom. That's all part of that functional area.
It's such an important area. I mean, we all think the brain is the most important part, but actually, I think our brain feeds off our stomach and our gut, as we know, and obviously the womb.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
that's one of
wow.
the benefits. Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's not just a womb massage isn't just for fertility. It helps with fertility, but it also helps with, as you mentioned, things like menstrual cycles, hormone balancing. So it's not just for those necessarily having a specific difficult fertility journey, but it could also be in preparation for fertility, just generally per se.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Amazing. Um, and what inspired you, Bhavika, to train as a womb fertility practitioner? Because I don't think there are too many of you out there, certainly not in this area. Anyway, what drew you
Yeah,
to this path?
for sure. So I was told I had PCOS when I was
Um,
12 years
yep,
old,
yeah,
and I was put on the journey of taking the pill and was told when I wanted children, I needed to come back to see the doctor.
yeah. That's a very familiar story from my
Yeah,
personal perspective as well, and lots of my clients and lots of yeah. That's a stands like a standard route that doctors like to put you on.
exactly. So I took the pill for many years and I did exactly what the doctors told me to do. And it
Why
was
wouldn't you?
years later that I decided to actually learn about my own body and to look at the hormonal imbalances. And so for years of my period pain, all of those sort of things. So I looked at the more traditional medicine,
Hmm.
which didn't really, So when I discovered a womb massage, um, this was something that I found because I through a friend. And she said to me, "Oh, have you had one?" And I thought, "No, I've never had one."
No.
So I Googled and I found a lady who did a womb massage. And so I decided to go along and train so that I could help my body initially. But through that, I've managed to help so many other women.
Ah, it's incredible. Do you know
And
what? Often our
it's
stories and our pathways, certainly mine as well, start from our own experiences and or something that resonates with us personally, and then it takes you on a pathway to helping others because that's just the beauty of what we do and who we are. We just want to help others based on our own. That's amazing. So, and the womb massage helped you to fall pregnant, would you say?
Indeed, it did. Yeah. So the experience kind of lit a fire in me to learn more. I thought, what is it? Why is it doctors just give you the pill? Where is
Yeah,
it coming from? Why is it? If I have a healthy period, I can have a baby. My
absolutely.
mentality, that was my understanding.
Yeah.
So I had to do some more studying. I realized that there's so much disconnect many women have from their wombs, often due to trauma or shame and
Hmm.
cultural conditioning.
Yes,
I
that's
knew I wanted
huge.
exactly that. And I come from an Indian background, and cultural trauma around periods and the shame around having a period was so big that I, for many years, hated my period. I didn't want
Absolutely.
them to come because
We
it meant I
didn't
couldn't go
we
out.
feared it rather than embraced it, and we
Exactly.
looked at it as a pain every month and a nuisance rather than actually welcoming it and thinking, well, this is great. My body's doing what it needs to do in order to then have a baby, please God, if that's what you want. So
Exactly that.
yes, and the mindset is so powerful as well that if you start to fear the thing that you eventually need and you want to love, it's gonna so you help to reverse that relationship.
Exactly. And so that's when I knew that I wanted to create a space where women could come home and be themselves and truly feel that they're heard
Yeah,
and empower them in their own bodies and to nurture the idea that periods are healthy and they're
absolutely.
part of our bodies that we should really embrace and
Absolutely.
welcome. So that's really where my journey kind of took place from that is to really go from learning about the womb and helping other women now on their fertility journey or just their menstrual health journey.
Amazing. Just going back a little bit to what you're talking about with the doctors and their standard sort of formula. And yes, obviously there are certain reasons and times when we need to have medical intervention, but they don't always know necessarily best, and they don't look at it in a holistic way as well as in a medical way. And I know that as well from my what I when I support women with cellular health
Mm.
and helping them to reduce the inflammation at the reproductive level and at the cell level, through test-based nutrition and making sure that they really understand that, what we're putting in our bodies. And sometimes actually medical intervention can actually cause more harm than good.
Absolutely.
And actually to understand what they're putting in their bodies, what they're eating, their diet, and how that's having an impact on the cellular level as well. So it's a really important when you are looking to try and conceive or trying to conceive or having a difficult fertility journey and just generally in life to really understand that you are in charge of your body and you can make those changes from an informed point of view and actually don't just necessarily listen to the doctor and take the easier route of a pill. Actually, you holistically, it's really important to explore options.
Yeah, I've always been told. So I've got a high BMI, and IVF was always going to be an issue with that. And so being an advocate and have voice for your own body is what's
Absolutely.
really, really important. Throughout my pregnancy, I was always the geriatric mother.
Yeah.
I was 39 when I conceived. So already at an age, and then they were constantly like, you'll have to have a C-section, all of those sort of things that kind of put you into a box.
They tell you,
And
yeah.
I had to have a voice of my own to say no. And I think that's what I'm wanting to do is to
Yeah.
empower women to be
That's
able to have
amazing.
that voice.
And that's really important as well because during fertility journeys, when you go for assisted treatment, often women lose their voice. They get told by the specialist what they have to do next. And yeah, obviously there's a protocol they need to follow, but it's always got to be really important that the patient, the woman, the male, talk about it and actually understand why, ask questions, have the right to say, I don't feel comfortable with that. Can you give me another option? Or no, that's not something. So, that voice is so important.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
amazing. So let's just describe for somebody who might be interested in coming to see you, what do they have to do before they come through your door and have that womb massage? Can you just talk us through that process?
Yeah, no problem. So the process is very intentional. So before the session, clients fill out a detailed questionnaire that covers
Hmm.
the sort of menstrual history, the digestion, well-being, emotional history as well, and past traumas, the lifestyle that they kind of have.
So
This
a
helps them to
real deep
understand.
overview. I know, real,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And
this will really
assuming
help
the
them to understand their
yeah,
physically and energetically what they require.
absolutely. And the more detail they give at that point, obviously the better the outcome will the more yeah, the better the outcome will be because you're empowered with exactly
With the
if they
knowledge.
start keeping secrets from you and they a bit so really to feel open with yourself and actually just to let it all out on that paper.
Well, like I said, it's a safe space. It's meant to be
Yes.
a place for women to cry. I've
Yeah.
I've held many women on that table, and I think it's important to know that they are in a safe room, that they're able to have these conversations if they need to. So the questionnaire works, and then I might give them a quick conversation, so a consultation call to kind of work into some areas that I might need some more information.
Yeah.
So the session kind of really starts with sort of a grounding. We talk through like the surface level of what's on the form and then how they're feeling, but the intention for the session. So,
Hmm.
what is it that they would like? What is the outcome that they would want? It's very collaborative between them and
Yeah.
I want them to feel safe, heard, but it's being on hands-on, so knowing that I will be putting my hands
It's
onto them.
gentle. Yeah.
And it's gentle, but also things some people will come with all sorts of trauma that they don't actually want me to touch them. Again, I'm happy to work around that because I
Yeah.
can use my Reiki and the skills that I have
I
in
was going to
my other
mention that.
work,
Yeah.
which also allows me to do my work, but without a hands-on approach if they do not feel
Yeah.
comfortable with me touching them.
And
So
and do you find, which is what I often find, clients come to you for what they think is the reason, but actually when you start healing or doing your chat with them, often that reason isn't the main reason. Actually, something that's like unpeeling a layer of an onion, and you get to the root cause, and actually it ends up what they actually came for isn't necessarily the primary issue in the end. It's something that maybe some deep level rooted trauma or an experience that they've happened that's actually causing what they think is the issue at the moment.
exactly
Yeah,
that. So when
yeah,
I first started, I started to heal my womb space and allowing my ovaries because I knew I had cysts on them or
yes,
what
yeah.
I was told. And then years later, so a year after I'd finished qualified doing this course, I went and had a scan and I had no cysts on my ovaries
Unbelievable. So you
whatsoever.
cured your own cysts, basically.
Absolutely. But that's through sort of trauma that was being held in my body.
Uh,
Like I said at the beginning, a cultural conditioning allowed me to hate my periods,
yes, yeah,
which then allowed it to whole manifest in that area. And so working through that allowed me to clear my cysts, but also then to get pregnant naturally.
that's incredible.
You know,
And you touched on how you combine the womb massage with Reiki and ancestral healing, which is actually quite unique, I would imagine. So are you able just to go a little bit deeper on how these techniques complement the womb massage, and then also what women might experience during those parts of the treatment? And then maybe I could talk a little bit about my experiences with you, but if you wouldn't mind just unveiling that first.
no problem. So the womb holds not just our personal experiences, but our ancestral and collective imprints.
Right.
Okay. So when I bring in Reiki, I'm working with subtle energy to help clear blockages, soothe emotional wounds, but also to create like a deeper sense of peace and alignment on the
Mm.
body.
Hmm.
And ancestral healing takes place, which is a little bit further. What it's doing is acknowledging and releasing patterns of trauma and beliefs passed down through the maternal line. So
Right.
as we are born, we connect into our mothers and our mothers before that. So it's our maternal line that is bringing in the relationship between our ancestors. So this affects women's current relationships. It helps affects their body and their fertility. So what happens is women often describe feeling waves of emotion or deep embrace as a lightness afterwards. It's not
Hmm.
always easy, but it can be profoundly liberating. So
Okay.
it blends with the fuller healing, not just physically, but the deepens the soul, allowing to release the connections that you may find. So, for example, a trauma could be when you are in your mother's belly, your mother is going through high appointments, blood pressure, diabetes, all these things that
Yeah.
might happen while you're still in the belly.
Yeah.
Now, when you're born, that trauma is carried
Carry
through,
through.
and that's what you then carry for years later.
Uh-huh. Hmm.
And that's what people don't realize. So, my mother, for example, always often used me as the child who gave her high blood pressure.
Right. Yeah.
And for many years, any doctor's appointments, oh, she's the, how many years
She's
have
the
you had
reason. She's the
high
reason.
pressure? Oh,
Yeah.
she's the reason.
She's the
And
reason.
so
Yeah.
those sort of things is what then carries. And because she then needed to stay in hospital for 3 months while I was in her belly, she left her family.
Yeah.
Imagine being in a country that she doesn't speak much of the English language.
Hmm.
She wasn't able to communicate with the doctors, but she's got two children still at home
Home.
that she
Yeah.
still has to think about. So that trauma alone was carried all the way through me
Yeah.
and into me. So I've had to work on my ancestral healing, my mother's healing, and allowing those barriers to break.
Brilliant.
You know,
Now, some people might not like the idea of ancestral connection or healing. So are you, if they came to you and said, I don't really want to go down that pathway, is that something you can turn off and not explore?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So that doesn't connect into the womb massage anyway. So my womb massage is completely different to that.
Right, right,
My Reiki and my ancestral healing is an add-on.
right.
It's something that you can add on
And that's
with
the
the
client
Reiki.
choice.
Absolutely, because
Okay.
with the Reiki, when I turn it on, I do see it and hear, spirits, people that may come and visit into the room.
Hmm.
But some people don't want to hear that, and
No.
I don't indulge or give them information if they don't. Yeah,
Right. Okay. So that's something that people can decide, and they can decide when they're with you in the
yeah,
room whether or not it's something they would like to explore or absolutely not explore. So that's their, again, they have a voice, it's their choice, and
exactly that.
you honor that. Now, I recently, a couple of weeks ago, had the privilege of coming for a session with you myself, which I must say was an incredibly beautiful experience. I wasn't there for specifically for fertility. Um, thank goodness I've come through the other side, and I did my own healing whilst I was going through my fertility journey. And I wish I had known somebody like you, but that wasn't around 22 years ago. Or if it was, I wasn't aware of it. But I know I've obviously referred quite a few of my clients to you recently, and they've had some fantastic experiences and results. But from a personal perspective, it was an incredibly relaxing experience. It was, I don't, it was something like I don't think I've ever experienced before, actually. And I'm not just saying that, it really was unique. Um, and I felt I did turn on the Reiki and the ancestral healing, or got you to turn it on, didn't I?
Yeah,
And we connected to some various people who were in my life.
yeah.
Um, some I didn't know, who I wouldn't know about, don't know about, and others like I one particular person that came in who I'm pretty certain I know who it was. And that in itself for me was absolutely gorgeous to be able to connect with this person who was a very close member of the family when I was much younger. And in terms of my healing of the womb, I've noticed a shift in my menstrual cycle and how that feels now, since, even though it was only like just under over a month ago.
Mm,
I don't know, I do feel that there has been a shift on a few levels.
that's amazing.
And I will absolutely be coming back to you, because I just, it was just a great, I think it was about an hour and a half or an hour and a
Yeah.
quarter. It was beautiful. So yeah, have you got any other uh, real life examples? Obviously, names need to be kept out of this for non, data protection.
Yeah.
But I'm sure our listeners would love to hear stories, particularly obviously about fertility journeys, because that's what my listeners here will be tuning in for.
I think going back just slightly on to the one that you said about your experience, I think it's really important to know that it was so nice. And thank you very much for trusting me and allowing me to hold space for you. It's truly wonderful that you've seen a shift already, and it's only been a few weeks since
Yeah,
we've had our session. But that last bit of having the rebozos, I mean, I don't know if many people know what rebozos are or
we,
what
we,
they
we
what the
explain
work
that.
is. Exactly. And having a rebozo wrapping at the end is so beautiful. It's a technique that's sort of using long woven cloths to gently rock or wrap or hold the body. And it's nourishing because at the end, where you feel like you're being held and swaddled,
Oh, that was
it allows you to have a
amazing.
nice little hug, after the session.
And that's when you played the drum.
That's exactly that. So just as I wrapped you up, I then play the drum
Do you
to
want to
allow
talk a
that.
little bit more about that drum as well while we're on
Oh
it?
yeah, my drum is a beautiful thing that I birthed. So I made her from scratch. She's
Oh
made out
my
of willow.
gosh.
She holds a moonstone in the middle, and I play after a client. Well, if the noise and the sound is okay for the client, but I play at the end to sort of take them into a deep meditation, allowing them to really connect into their roots. And sometimes it's taken them through the path where they need to forgive the child within
Right. Yeah.
things that might have happened. So I kind of really ground them into that, take them back to a time and space where they need to ask for forgiveness and
Right.
let
Which
go of
is
that sort of trauma that they may be holding, so that they can move forward,
yeah.
allowing that to rest
Yeah.
and saying, yes, that happened, but we now need to move forward.
Absolutely. And that's so
Um,
important, isn't it? To be able to sort of let go and release.
Yeah. So going back onto the clients and things, I mean, I've now been doing this for 3 years or 4 years now. And with that, it's just been an absolute whirlwind,
Yeah. You've had success rates, haven't you? I've heard.
so many
Yes.
options, so many stories. So when I first started, I started off with 4 clients and all 4 were pregnant and I was number 5 in that first year,
Wow.
which was just astounding. I mean, I'm 1 week behind my last client. So both of us have got children 1 week apart.
That's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And so coming back on the stories that they've said was things like one woman came to see me after 3 years of trying to conceive. She'd been through multiple rounds of IVF and was exhausted. You know, through our sessions, we focused on reconnecting her body, releasing the grief, and supporting the circulation of the womb.
Yeah.
So 4 months later, she messaged to say, actually, Bhavika, I'm pregnant. And naturally, because she just let go of all the issues that she was holding on to and storing.
It's so important. It's people don't really understand what they're holding on to and how that is impacting their fertility.
Absolutely. And it can be
At
so small, something
small.
that's happened
Yeah.
in their past that
Yeah.
is so small. People think, oh, it always has to be a sexual trauma or, emotional trauma or mental. And it's not at all.
No.
Something small is triggered in your body as a fight and flight mode.
Mhm.
And in that moment, you've changed your way of thinking in your body.
And then it also affects your hormone balance
Absolutely.
and the circulation, as you say, and just that could be just a tiny feel like a tiny piece of the jigsaw, but it could be the bit that's missing.
Yeah. Even through menopause, I have many
Yeah.
women who come through menopause in the similar situation. It's not even the fertility journey was awful. They've hated that whole moment. They've gone through having children, and then it's the menopause that hits,
Yes,
you
it
know?
hits them.
And,
Yeah.
and again, if they haven't worked through the emotional side and they haven't looked at trauma that's affecting that, they're going through a journey which they don't need to,
No.
perhaps, but
No.
they are having to because they haven't learned that actually there's something that's causing that pain,
Yes, yeah,
you know?
absolutely. So, which takes me on to my next question that obviously you've touched upon fertility, you touched upon menopause. Is
Yeah.
there anything else that my listeners might be listening to, might know people that you can support women with? What else?
So recently, I had a client that is irregular periods. That's
Yeah,
another one. So,
yes,
she told me that she wasn't ovulating consistently. Irregular diet of she has PCOS, I guess. So fibromyalgia and sort of those sort of things affect your fertility or even your period and your
yeah,
menstrual health.
yeah,
But actually, just knowing that she has managed to regulate her cycles, knowing
amazing.
that she's had an empowered understanding of what is happening to her body,
Yeah,
she's able to then choose whether she wants to have children in the future, but understand her period health from now.
yes,
Young
yeah,
girls as age of 14, 15, like I said, are going straight to the doctors because that's what they
yes,
know.
yeah,
But in fact, if you look at a holistic approach, if you can take on something different, you may find that the period will come back naturally,
absolutely.
and
Yeah,
they don't have to go down the medicine route if
no,
they don't want to.
no, no, brilliant. And
Yeah.
do you support men?
I do support men, yeah. So men have a lot of ancestral and healing, and they get a lot more Reiki healing. They also have a womb space, as in their space is abdominal, so trauma that they might be holding on to, gut issues, feeling attachments to people, for example. They don't feel like they can let go of certain things. So yeah, I've treated a fair number of men
Men,
who also come in.
amazing.
So yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So you are the all-round sort of womb therapist doctor.
Don't know about that.
What?
I've probably got a few more years to study to get
Well,
that title, but definitely on the roll.
you're
Yeah,
definitely getting your case studies in there and your success
absolutely.
stories
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, like I said,
So
in 4 years, it's 4 years, probably about, 400 people. It's crazy to think that this is what the kind of work has been needed.
amazing. That's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. You're so inspiring, so interesting, and
Thank
just
you.
great. Is there anything else before we tell our listeners that how to contact you if they are interested in some further information or want to book a treatment with you? Is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners while we've got the opportunity?
Yeah, so I'd taken a long time to get my website up and running. It took me a while. I'm a teacher full time, so taking on this plunge of
Yes,
moving into this world, I now have a company which is called the Sacred Seed.uk. That's the
brilliant.
website, and in Instagram you can find me on the Sacred Seed 7.
The
So
as in the number seven, the
number seven,
digits.
yeah, we
Yep,
have
yep.
7 chakras, so we thought we'd go with the number 7.
Okay, great. I
So
love
if you're
that.
working with the Reiki, that's how it works. Yeah, absolutely. So just send me a message, send me a little note on the website if you wish, and I can then call you back and have a
So
consultation.
you do a, is it a free discovery call?
Absolutely, yeah,
Okay.
because it's
And
it's nice.
okay. And at this moment in time, I appreciate this is recorded now and this might get listened to in a year's time, but at this moment in time, which is end of August 2025, what's is a charge for your session, or is that not something you want to discuss on the
Well, there's something that it depends because, like I said, if you're going to combine the Reiki alone,
yes, yes.
sorry, the womb massage alone, that might be different. And if you
Yeah,
then do the Reiki as well, that is a top up. So they do change. We do offer things like because I can only work with women when they're on a fertility journey, for example, every 2 weeks. Because
right.
before you must come after a period and before you ovulate, because
Yes.
then afterwards I don't know if you could be pregnant.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
always that chance. It's a very small window. But we do packages for things like that. So like a 6 months package if they need.
I'm with you.
But it's not going to change overnight. It does take a bit of time. But ultimately, I've come 3 times and then got pregnant. So
Amazing.
it depends on what they need.
Okay.
Like I said, the consultation form will allow me to assess that and then give them a price range
Perfect.
accordingly.
That's a great,
Yeah.
brilliant. Yeah, no, I appreciate that's it's individually packaged according
Yeah.
to the person's needs. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much, Bhavika, for sharing your wisdom and your heart with us today. Okay,
Thank you.
your work is such a gift for women, all women actually, but it's
Yeah.
particularly women navigating their fertility journey. And I know that so many of my listeners here will feel inspired to reconnect with their own womb space after hearing this. So a huge thank you.
Brilliant.
And for anyone that wants to learn more about Bhavika's work, what I'll do is leave her links in the notes so you can connect directly with her. And finally, thank you everyone for tuning in again. Thank you for joining us for this episode. Hope you found it as inspiring and fascinating and informative as I did. And sending you all the love, light, and strength on your fertility journey or your life journey. And I look forward to having you on my next podcast in future and tuning in. But thank you, Bavika, again,
Thank you.
and bye for now.
Bye.